That leads us into Jaxson Dart. Ole Miss USC product is going to be making his first start this upcoming week. What are we thinking about this move from the Giants' perspective, and how do we think that Jaxson Dart's going to start his career?
Yeah, so I think this is definitely an interesting move to throw him in against the Chargers here. I think that Brian Dable is essentially risking his the rest of his coaching career, at least in New York, on the fact that Jaxson Dart will be good, and I'm hoping for his sake that he is. But he literally said that making the switch from Jaxson Dart to from Russell Wilson to Jaxson Dart was his decision. So that is completely on him, however this goes. And I think that this is definitely a tough spot to put him in. 0-3 is like definitely like on the path to getting him fired, like to getting Brian Dable fired, because he was already on the hot seat, well, at least like the last season, if not the last 2 seasons. And it is really unfortunate that that it's this Chargers defense, because it is not only improved from last year, it looks like one of the best defenses in the NFL, and this is even without Khalil Mack, who's been sitting out the last couple of games. So it's really like it's a really bad spot for him. There wasn't really a good spot to throw him in. There's a lot of hard games coming up, but I just need to see it out of Jaxson Dart, right? Because there's such a high ceiling with Jaxson Dart, but there's also a pretty low floor, and I feel like that's why he was taken in the back half of the draft at 20 back half of the first round at 25th overall. Like, he has his high moments where he can go for 400 yards and 3+ touchdowns in a game, and it could like possibly light up, at least in college, and then possibly light up an NFL defense like that. Then there's also the Florida game where he throws 3 interceptions, one of them called back within the span of 2 minutes. And I don't think that those 2 Jaxson Darts are 2 separate people. Like, that can be Jaxson Dart in the same game. Like, he had a decent game against Florida, and then it completely like went away from him. So I do think that there's like a lot of things that need to get fixed with Jaxson Dart, and we'll see exactly how he plays. I'm not the highest on him, and I think there's a reason why he kind of like fell in the draft, and there was not a huge buzz around NFL quarterbacks coming into the season. But I mean, Brian Dable before this stint in New York was supposed to be a quarterback guru and an offensive genius. So we'll see how it plays out, and maybe we see a lot out of Jaxson Dart. But this week is just a hard week in general, because the Chargers are on a heater and 3-0 at this point.
Yeah, so Jaxson Dart, I understand where you're coming from with the low floor, and that Florida game is definitely a real blemish on his college resume. But I'm just going to go the other way here and say they said this on the broadcast a ton, because they were looking at the Giants' schedule and they were saying, hey, if you throw them out against the Saints, that's probably the best time to do it. But then right after that, you got the Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, Niners, and that's a tough stretch too. So at the very least, you might as well set him up to at least have his second start against the Saints. He's going to, probably have a rough one against the Chargers, but he gets that second bounce back game to try to vault him into the next few games. But also, too, you drafted a guy in the first round, and I'm not a huge fan of rushing anybody, but he started every year that he played, essentially, or for a good portion of time, especially his time at Ole Miss. But he started when he was at USC as well. He's had plenty of games in college, and I think that that's something that kind of goes a little bit overlooked. So he might be more ready than we think. And I think the Giants have some good weapons. And if you are 0-3, do you really want to send Russell Wilson back out there when he's essentially showed you 2 really bad games and then 1 good game against the Cowboys defense, which looks really weak? In the same move of Jaxson Dart being the guy that you throw out there and your job relies on him playing well. I mean, would you want that, or would you want Russell Wilson at 0-4 or 0-5 or whatever it would have been for that to be what your job is reliant on? I mean, he potentially could give them the best chance to actually win football games. And I think it's a good move. It was a necessary move. I saw this coming in the offseason that Russell Wilson was just going to be a bridge quarterback. I was out on him by that point. And I like the move. I say throw him out there. You got enough. You think you have enough. You think you could be competitive. He started plenty of games. Why not? It doesn't matter who it's going to be against. He's going to play good teams and bad teams in the NFL. As long as his confidence doesn't get shattered. That's all that you have to make sure that you monitor. I think it's a fine move.
Yeah, and I think especially in this first start, or the first couple of starts, he should just be ultra reliant on like Malik Neighbors and the talent he has around him. Like, that defense can make things happen. I don't know if they're gonna completely withstand the Chargers offense that looks like Justin Herbert is playing like potentially an MVP candidate by the end of the season. So it'll be a tough task, but like that, the defense that he has behind him isn't bad at all. They have some real playmakers on that side of the ball, and then on offense, Cam Skattebo looked really good last game. So maybe there's a proportion there where you're not just throwing him to the dogs, and like you have Cam who can like maybe open up a play action game, and then Malik Neighbors can get free. And I just think the plan going into this game should just be able to feed the weapons you have around you as much as possible, and then have that defense try to hold on for dear life at that point.
It's certainly easier said than done, but yes, this Giants team has a ton of weapons. I think they got 2 very good running backs, plenty of guys that he can pass the ball to as well. And maybe the defense shows up in a game that you're not expecting it, and you actually can maybe squeak out a win. Like any given Sunday, whenever it comes to the NFL, and maybe Jaxson Dart is the rookie quarterback that we see this year, because it's been a bit of a trend that actually plays much better or above expectations and is a serviceable starting QB for this entire rookie season, or for his entire rookie season. So I think that that's very possible.